Hello, my friends. It is Monday, and we're in a new week, we're in a new month, and hopefully, you are full speed ahead doing some work with an animal that you have grown very fond of. For me, it's the penguin. It might be the elephant, it might be the shark, it might be a bat. And so I want to give you today some support in how to compile research when you're looking at a lot of different things at once, and where to put it, and then how to put it in your own words so that it actually sounds like, an 8-year-old is talking and not like some, adult. And I want my piece to sound like me. So I'm going to make sure it has my voice. But before we do that, we've got to do the research and we've got to compile our information. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys right now so that you can see what it is that I'm doing. And then I'm going to help you take the information that you have, that you've been researching. You have like all these graphic organizers for vocabulary words and stuff. It's time to put it all together. So what I did was I have something called food and what and how they eat, because I have decided that for me, the subheading that I want to work on today is just what my penguin eats. Now, I know that some of you have thought about your subheadings and you've actually gone over this with your teachers. It might be that you're looking at habitats, food, body parts, the life cycle. For me, I've decided I'm going to do these four for the penguin, and I'm going to call it something fancy. So I decided healthy habits, funny foods, penguin parts, lively life cycle, because I wanted all of mine to have alliteration. But you might decide that you want to do this and have it be a question. So where does this animal live anyway? Um, what do they eat? Um, what does this animal look like, by the way? And so what is this life cycle? You want to give it some kind of a bit of a flair, you can get creative with that. But for now, today, we're just going to look at food. Now, I have to be honest with you, when I started doing my research, I discovered that it's not only about what the penguin eats, but it's also how it eats. So, and I have 3 books that I really love. One of them is called Penguins, one of them is called The Penguin, and the other one is called The Life Cycle of an Emperor Penguin. And so with each of these, I want to find what they eat, how they eat, what they eat, how they eat, what they eat, and how they eat. You may decide that for you, because you've done a lot of work in your classes, and we have in ours also, that you're really comfortable doing boxes and bullets. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but here it is, what they eat and how they eat. And off to the side here, I also put the title of the book, because I think that's important for you to know. Maybe later on, you're going to need to know what that book was, if because you want to go back and reference it because you don't know what you meant when you were taking your notes. So here I have, and I personally am comfortable typing stuff up, but you might be more comfortable handwriting it. So it's entirely up to you. So I'm going to open up right now, and I'm just going to research food. You are not going to, while you're doing research, go, oh, by the way, and oh, by the way, because it gets too much. So you're too much. It's like having too much on one plate. I want just the food on my plate. I just thought of that right now. All right. I'm not going to quit my day job. Anyway, okay. So here's my book. It's called Penguins. Now I'm looking for food, and as I was looking through here, I discovered that yes, it does have this lovely little index, or table of contents rather. So here's my table of contents. What are penguins? No. Many penguins? Mm-mm. Penguin homes? Oh, hunters and hunted. That's got to have something to do with food. So I'm going to go to page 14. Well, to be honest with you, when I was doing this, I was skimming last night and I discovered something that was not on page 14, but it had to do with food. And I thought it was kind of interesting. So I'm gonna go to that, and it's right here. A penguin has fleshy spikes on its tongue and inside its mouth to help it hold on to slippery food. Okay, so first of all, I know it's dinner time, and maybe that's not something that I want to eat for dinner tonight. Maybe it is, I don't know, but I have to put that down. So what they eat slippery food. You might go into your boxes and bullets. What they eat, slippery food. However, it's easiest for you to take that note, and we're going to move on. Still looking for food. Preens, molting. I've done some research. I know about these words, but the habitats, know about these words, but this is not what I want because I'm just looking for food right now. Hunters and hunted, here it is. Penguins are carnivores. They eat animals like squid, fish, and krill. They dive for their prey and they grab it with their sharp beaks. A penguin's mouth, throat, and stomach stretch, allowing it to swallow its prey whole. A penguin can swallow a prey that is almost as big as itself? Okay. Imagine Nancy Wall swallowing something for dinner tonight that is as big as Nancy Wall. Now, when you are writing, it is important for you to think that way and for you to put that flair into it. So I'm going to first of all go off to my space and I'm going to write carnivores, meat eaters, which I already did, fish, krill, squid. I wanted to make sure I put that in bold because it's going to be a vocabulary word that I'm going to put in my glossary at the end. If you're handwriting it, you can still put it in bold by going over it a couple of times with your pen. Okay, so I have the same information in my boxes and bullets here as I do here. In full disclosure, I did not know how to draw a box on here in Pages, which is what I'm using, not Microsoft Word. I just didn't know how to do it, so that's why it looks like this. Okay, so now I'm going to continue. I'm going to go back to my book and see if there's anything else. And it looks like they are hunters, but they're also hunted. So now we're getting into prey and predator and in the water and porpoising. And I don't know that I'm going to have anything else in this book about penguins and what they eat. So I'm going to now go to another book. This one's called The Penguin. The Penguin, a funny bird. And so now I'm looking through here, and as I go, I've got bird population, scrubby grasses. I'm doing a little bit of skimming right now because I don't want to keep you guys here for too long. I got to this page, and on this page, I learned about how they use their flippers to propel themselves. They move really fast in the water, especially when they're hunting for food. The king penguins have been recorded to swim over 5 miles per hour and have been known to dive 820 feet below the water's surface. They rely on their eyesight. So I'm going to go here to my food and what and how they eat, and I'm going to write down in this book. They rely on eyesight to fish. They catch their fish with their bill. Now, I want to say to you that there are some notes on here that I took from this book that I didn't just read to you. There are also books from the book. There are also notes rather from the book, The Penguins, or Penguins rather. It swallows the animal whole. And I wrote, it doesn't chew. They can hold their breath up to 20 minutes. I read that in that book also. And then I wrote, wow, that must mean that they can stay underwater hunting for food for long periods of time. Now I want to make sure that when I go to my piece, I'm going to get out of this for a second, that when I go to my piece and I start writing, I start putting things about food in my document that sound like Nancy Wall wrote it, not like somebody else wrote it. Okay, not your parents, not your teachers. So here we go. I have my little piece, healthy habits, funny foods, penguin parts, lively life cycle, extra fun facts, my introduction, my conclusion. This is going to end up being about 8 pages for you guys. If you do 4 subtopics, and if you do an introduction and a conclusion and fun facts, and some of you will write more than 1 page. You're going to say I only wrote 1 page, but some of you are going to be like, I have lots of information. I want to write 2 pages. Do it, right? Go big or go home. So here we go. There's my introduction. Here's habitats. Here's my funny foods. What they eat, how they eat. So what does a penguin, now this is Nancy Wall's voice. So what does a penguin eat? It's interesting that this bird lives in places that many might think is in short supply of food. Cold places, lots of snow, not a lot of wildlife, but actually penguins are carnivores, meat eaters. They get their food, oh, I have a typo here. Penguins are carnivores and they get their food from the sea. That part makes sense because they live in, near, and around the water. So you can find them eating slimy foods. There's that detail that I found, like krill and fish and squid. They have very flexible body parts, and so they just swallow their food whole. Believe it or not, in some types of penguins can swallow their prey whole. Prey means animals that they hunt for, even if it's almost as big as themselves. See, there's a couple of typos in here. The penguins find a way to slip the slimy fish down. Okay. If I wanted to elaborate on that, I could add that piece about Nancy Wall, eating something the size of Nancy Wall. Can you imagine eating something the size of yourself? That's crazy. You can put that in your piece. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing right now because I want to go back to, well, actually, I do want to show you something else. That once I did that, I found this picture because I want to put a picture and a caption on this page. And this picture of a penguin eating a bird whole looked like the perfect thing for me to share. So what I did was I went on Google, I pulled up pictures of fish or pictures of penguins eating fish whole, and I found this. I took it and I dragged it onto my desktop. I don't know if you can see it, but here it is. And then I took that and I put it onto my document. Where is it? Here it is. I took it and I put it onto my document. Now you're going to see it's going to be huge. See how big it is? I didn't want it that big. So I had to make it smaller, which is what I did here. Okay. It is going to be expected that you'll have some pictures. You might just be like, I don't want to do that. I want to draw it because I like drawing. So you can do that too. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. So folks, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to focus on one subtopic at a time. You're just going to look at the habitats or the body parts or the prey and the predators, whatever it is that you choose, however it is that you choose to set up your story, your piece. And then you're going to focus on one thing at a time and do all of your research on that one subtopic. Then you're going to take it and try to rewrite it in your own words so that it sounds interesting, so that it doesn't sound like you took that information from somebody else. All right? Writing things in your own words is everything. All right, my friends. I hope this helps. If if you need anything, you can let your teachers know, and they can ask me if they want to get some extra feedback about that. But your teachers know exactly what we're doing just as much as I do. So, all right, my friends, have a lovely day. I'm going to stop.